Welcome to Laid Back Law with your favorite lawyers from around the interwebs, discussing the most pressing of topics every Friday at noon Eastern Time.
All right, we are live and with a motley crew as usual. I'm happy to see Ron, Viva. How are you guys doing today? And I've actually lost the tab that have you guys in it, so I am going audibly right now trying to figure out, okay, where the heck are they?
Did you find us yet?
I have not found you, so I'm going to depend on you guys to...
On the kindness of strangers.
Well, this is a unique situation where, there we go, too many monitors. I opened a new tab, shrank it down, and then it was just gone. At least we're all here, and our country's still here momentarily. Ron, you're doing great. Nick, how are you doing? I just read an article about your country today, which I'll talk about in September. Very cool, weird trivia. Apparently in Sweden in 1967, September 3rd, they decided, hey, we want to drive on the other side of the road. So the whole country switched in 10 minutes. Very impressive feat. David,
which side did they move to?
The correct side.
Yeah. They had a big referendum regarding that. Should we go from driving to the left side to the right side? And the Swedish people, by a margin of 89%, said no. And the government says, hey, we're going to do it anyway.
There you go. And David, what's going on with you?
Sounds really scary.
Same old crap. I'm just trying to see what the breakingest news of the day is. And
breakingest.
It looks like a relatively quiet day, at least. What the media is not talking about in terms of, Fox News not talking about the Russia disclosures from yesterday or the Tulsi Gabbard disclosures.
Oh, well, they're not going to, probably.
Almost no media outlet except the extremist one are talking about this new Ofcom thing, and UK and Australia trying desperately to censor the rest of the world.
Well, while we're on censorship, Ron, you suggested, I think you're involved with some sort of class action lawsuit dealing with the European censorship, the famous Europe and Great Britain, who do not seem to love the idea of free speech.
It's not a class action, but internet technology lawyer Preston Byrne contacted me about whether I'd be interested in working with him on a challenge to the OFCR, which
what is the FCR?
That's the UK office. It is a sort of quasi-governmental institution which is in charge of censorship, and they've been sending notices to American companies telling them that they have to take down certain content. And this is something that I've been writing about since 2011, when I realized that the internationalization of communications was moving us in a direction where we would soon have to worry in the United States about a First Amendment that does not really protect us and conceptually really can't, from government censorship by governments that are not United States governments.
Can't they geofence content and accounts? I mean, David, you probably want to jump in on this. I mean, Rumble has to be first and foremost in dealing with censorship from other countries, and they pulled out of France and Brazil, I believe. I don't know if they're in there again or not. I don't know the status, but what are your thoughts?
Well, pull up the tweet from Jim Jordan that had the actual email Rumble introductory call.
Did you share it with me here?
Yeah, it's in the private chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, have a look at that. It's wild. It's nothing new either. Remember when they were doing the Digital Millennial Copyright Act in Europe, and at the time, I forget how many years ago this was now, but at the time I was, suggesting that the nefarious side of this might be using these copyright laws to censor newsworthy information, and now they're just going about it in a different way. Hunley, are you able to bring it up?
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm gonna bring this up because it's actually the email. Dear blank, thank you for your email. We note your position that you do not consider Rumble to be in the scope of the act on the grounds that you do not have a significant number of online users in the UK, and that the UK is not a target market. It's hold on, where's my screen now? I just lost my screen. Yeah, hold on. Let me continue reading this. Target market, as well as your belief that there is no material risk of significant harm to UK users of Rumble. We have not assessed or reached a decision on this matter and reserve our position in this regard. Further to the guidance notes we have already shared with you, Rumble, we will be monitoring Rumble's position carefully. It's pretty freaking wild. But Juan, what's your involvement with this?
So let me bring up to you the email that Preston. And now we're beginning to get a lot of traction on this.
It's what's going to happen. They're going to do it in Canada. Do I look tired today? They're going to do it in Canada as well. Is they're going to demand censorship for reasons of like violating local law of instilling fear in migrants, immigrants, whatever, a purported hate speech, and they're going to do the same thing in Canada. It's just a matter of time. I mean, thus far, it looks like what's his face? They're up in Canada. Carney's has bigger things to worry about, but this was proposed legislation, and
I'm going to share. Let me give you guys another link, which they've studio chat, or they have really updated the interface a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
But throw this up on the screen, and people should definitely look at Preston Burns' feed because he's all over this, and he's gotten the White House involved through channels. He's gotten Jim Jordan involved. He's very influential, Preston. He represents a lot of the bad boys. He took over my former role as lawyer for Gab.
Oh, okay.
The Gab, as far as I know, is not involved in this, but they're the kind of operation that you can expect to be picked off first.
Well, yeah, the Gabs of the world, I think, are easier targets than.
Well, they are because they're unpopular.
Sure.
And they don't have the kind of power that the big boys do. So Preston and I are putting together a coalition. I can't really say more than that just yet, but we are looking for more lawyers and more companies to participate. And if anyone within the sound of my voice wants to join in, they should just DM me or Preston or contact us in some other ways. But we're going to do this.
So Ofcom, it's the UK regulator of what? Internet, television, airwaves?
Every type of communications between citizens is regulated by them. If it's TV, if it's internet, if it's whatever, even old-time letters, they are the regulators.
And do you have a word for that? Pravda?
It's a government organization. The people who sits on the board and everything are appointed by the government, and then they propose new regulations to the government. It's a nice little circle of how can we make this worse.
It's amazing. They call it an independent government body established in 2003 and has been expanding powers, especially digital online. The Online Safety Act has recently given it significant power over big tech platforms to regulate harmful content. I mean, it's a window into the future of Canada, and and Canada's a window into the future of America. We'd be there already if Kamala Harris were in office. But
Well, question, David. Canada, like Australia, New Zealand, etc., they're Commonwealth countries. So is the influence of what the UK is doing stronger there? Does it naturally flow to?
They just don't have a First Amendment,
No, they don't have the first, they don't have the second, and there's a cultural difference between parliamentary systems, but also people who consider themselves subjects to a queen and a king. I was telling my kids today, we learned the history of Quebec in Canada. the most important element of the history is the dynamic between America and Canada, and how, you know, the Brits, you know, when they fought and they won their independence, the Brits went up to Canada, and Canadians were more than happy to remain subjects. But it's not an accident. You're seeing it everywhere in these elements of the King and the Queen: Australia, England, Canada.
David, I heard that actually. Can you confirm something? And I don't mean to hijack and go to the side, but from what I was told, you know, the War of 1812 is taught here in an afternoon, maybe. Maybe it'll carry over to 2 class periods. But in Canada, it's actually a big deal. And you spend a lot more time covering the War of 1812.
No, we spend a lot more time studying, especially in Montreal, Quebec, the history of Quebec. I mean, in Quebec, they focus on the French independence, the distinctness of Quebec and the civil system from the rest of Canada and the Commonwealth. But no, we focus on that, and then, you know, these key figures. But no, it's amazing. We're seeing what's going to happen. I don't know what sanctions they're threatening against Rumble, and I don't know what amount of Rumble's business is done in the UK, but everyone's going to have to get VPNs until they start outlawing VPNs like they've done in China.
Right, which is absolutely the next step.
Yeah, it's already in the works. I mean, I've seen. Now, I haven't seen this specific UK one because I've been focused on the thing that we affectionately call chat control. It's European Union legislation, proposed legislation that has done the rounds since roughly 2016. It's always been repelled by either a majority or a minority, but it keeps coming back like a bad like a bad case of herpes. It always comes back, and it comes back from this direction and that direction, from new people. And it's a continuation of the European Data Retention Act that then was repelled by the European courts in 2014, I believe. Sweden didn't care. We still use the Data Retention Act in our legal system, even though the European Court has says, no, this is overbroad and is in violation of the European Chapter of Human Rights. And they don't care. Because we don't have a constitutional court.
So is Sweden different than England on this? I mean, I don't want to have a broad brush and just say EU, England, and throw it all together. So, you know, if there's nuance or separation between, say, Sweden and England and stuff, please.
Well, UK is no longer a part of the European Union, but they are a part they signed a bunch of papers. Let's cooperate anyway. But in Sweden, our governments, regardless if it's left, center, right, are more than happy to regulate our thoughts and speech because we don't have a First Amendment.
Michael Austin here does bring up a good point. There is a difference between someone that was given their independence and those who took it. I could sort of see that. I mean, and in the history, I mean, Canada, a lot of Canada is made up by British loyalists who left here, or they chose, you know, to stay there. They were like, no, we're not with you crazy colonies down south. We're cool. We're going to stay here. So there is a different cultural.
Yeah, there's a different culturally. There's a lot of reasons there are different cultural differences, but I wouldn't dwell on that too much. I mean, I do think there's a different tradition. There's a different legal system, and there's also this orientation toward internationalism, which is historically, I mean, globalism, as we say in the
New World Order,
political world, the New World Order. This is New World Order stuff right down the middle. You know, shouldn't Brussels be in charge of how all civilized nations express themselves? And
that seems kind of big. How about Liechtenstein? Let's go a little smaller. They could be in charge. I don't know. Ron, you sent me an article. What is this?
Forget it. It's the article that I wrote in 2011, but it's just a bunch of links saying that if Europe has its way, and first of all, it's going to be a Muslim Europe, and it's going to tell us what we can and can't say in the United States, because everything you publish on the internet is published everywhere. And
That's already happening a little bit. I mean, in terms of trade stuff, it's not always bad. As an example, the iPhone now has USB-C as its charging port at the bottom. That wasn't because Apple said, you know what, we want to be like everybody else and have the plugs be universal. That was the EU shoving it down their throat, saying you can't sell iPhones here. So there is definitely already an EU influence where they're saying, hey, you want to sell your product here, or you want to do this thing here, you have to follow these particular standards. And now that's trade, but I don't think they're that far apart. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, because everything's politicized now. Everything's politicized, and
everything is about somebody think of the children. We need backdoors into all your programs. We need backdoors into there, because obviously, once the government has a backdoor into everything, no, it can't be abused or hacked, right?
Yep, I like this comment from Otto here. This channel should have a hair care product endorsement, if nothing else. So we've got the after before, on top and the befores on
no, before and after.
Oh, well, that would be the goal, the before and after. But oh God, that's funny.
Yeah. The thing that is in the pipeline in the European Union is the CSAR, is the Regulation to Prevent and Combat Child SA, the Child SA Regulation, CSAR. And this is the third or fourth time. So we call it Chat Control 2.0. And they have been trying to push this through the European Union for almost a decade now, after they lost the ability through the Data Retention Act. And the Data Retention Act is that every tech company or every internet provider or phone provider or communications provider has to save everything at least 6 months.
Now,
but that was regarded as too broad. So now they're trying this instead by making companies self-regulate through government regulation.
Isn't this just a repeat though of the Patriot Act? I mean, there's always some higher pressing need that says we have to surveil and collect all your information. Before it was the Patriot Act, now it's CSAM, right? I mean, it's just there's always got to be a wedge. And before, if you said, hey, we're a little worried about privacy here, we're a little bit worried about rights, they would say, what? Do you like terrorists? Does that mean you're pro-terrorist? It's like, no. No, it does not mean that.
And if you raise any questions about the way the Epstein matter is being handled by the press or by politicians, obviously you're in favor of you're not allowed to say it's on YouTube. Epstein stuff, I mean, it's people just can't, they just can't think.
I got to address my mod here. CSAM, I'm not talking about CSAM being a legitimate exception. CSAM is a criminal thing. It's not free speech. We all agree on that. We're saying the fact that there could be CSAM out there to monitor everybody on the planet is a bridge too far. So I think you may be running a little bit with my comment.
Do you want to hear something really worrying then? Back in 2008, Sweden implemented what we call the FRA laws, where they changed a bunch of laws because the Swedish radio surveillance agency, who through the Cold War up until then, we need to monitor Russia. Okay, do that. And then they discovered, internet, now we need to monitor that. And throughout the year, so we have these so-called supercomputers that have a special entrance into the nodes, the big central points in and out of Sweden, where everything is mirrored into that supercomputer for only the metadata, because apparently that makes it less harmful for privacy. But that has been going on since 2008.
Well, the sad thing is that honestly, even what they're not monitoring, they can just buy from Facebook and they can buy from advertisers. Everything is so tracked, every direction. It's crazy. So, David, I want to get David on the spot here for while we're talking about free speech and lawsuits and everything. We have the lovely Candace Owens, who especially likes half the panel's ethnicity. What's up with the case with her and Macron? Have you shifted at all? Is it all just BS, or does Candace have any risk?
Well, no, risk. There's obviously risk. I'm actually going to be curious to pick Ron's brain about this afterwards if he's chimed in on it. But Barnes has made his prediction, and Barnes, is basically of the opinion that she's dead to rights based on the statements that she made, based on the jurisdiction that they filed in, based on how Claire Locke is the law firm has built up this case against her with their retraction letter, et cetera, et cetera. The more I think about it, I'm not sure if I'm convincing myself to justify my own position, but I appreciate everything Barnes is saying. I think who was another lawyer? I think Nate's on board with Barnes on this one to some extent. I didn't get to finish his
No. I think Nate, because Nate and I talked about it a little bit. Nate can't make it today, but Nate just read the suit and said this is what they're claiming, and a lot of people have gotten on his case saying that was so one-sided with Macron, and Nate literally released another video that's coming out anytime saying, of course it's on their side. I'm reading their complaint. When Candace's complaint comes in, I will be reading the other side. So in fairness, I don't know where Nate stands on it. I think he said that, okay, reading this complaint, there's some stuff here. I want to hear from the other side, and then I'll come to a conclusion.
The question, when I listen to anything Candace Owens says, I hear it as though someone is obviously issuing their opinion, sort of like the Rachel Maddow when she said literally Russian.
Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, she didn't mean literally. No one listens to that and thinks it meant literally. When Candace Owens is going on about an elaborate plot that Macron's born a man, transition, stolen identity, I obviously hear it as Candace's own theory and opinion to be taken with a grain of salt or not, and not as defamatory statements of fact, let alone the fact that you're dealing with the Macrons, who are not just public figures, but public figures who have engaged in very questionable behavior to begin with. So, Barnes, Robert is not doom-pilled, but says he thinks she's cooked for the things that she said. They're defamatory per se: incest, murder, stolen identity, fraud, statutory rape.
Right, that's what I understand. That they learned from the French case. They lost on the French case because of number one, being trans is not defamation. So they changed it to identity theft, which is defamation. Can you guys go into that and why that would be a factor?
Well, I think in France, I don't think they lost because they said the statements were defamatory. I mean, I think they said they lost because the person sincerely believed in the craziness of what they were saying. Yeah. But no, I mean, there's the thing is, it's not just that Candace said she's a man. It's that she said she's a man, stolen identity. The brothers never existed. There's some incestuous relationship because it's actually related to Macron. There's some allegations of murder. But I mean, when you're talking about rich people politically connected to the whatever the connection is to the Rothschilds, I mean, you've got a Hillary kill list. And I don't think everybody who says there's an Arkansas list should be sued for defamation or could be sued for defamation. And that's sort of how I view what Candace has been saying. But look, it's a 219 page. They go through everything that she says. When I read it, I read opinion of someone who's putting forward a theory and their evidence for it. But sued in Delaware, which is, probably not MAGA friendly. I love how they're also considering, what's her face, Candace to be MAGA, despite the fact that for the last 2 months she's been railing against Trump. But I'm not doom-pilled on it. I think Candace does not lose this, and I think it's going to be interesting. But Barnes is issuing a word of caution to anybody else who repeated the statements, either as fact or with affirmation of ratifying Candace Owens' theory. I've never been sold, but I watched the series that Candace put out, and she makes a compelling argument with whatever evidence that she's selected. And some people say it's cherry-picked and selected evidence, but I don't think she's cooked. Ron,
you don't think she's what?
I don't think she's cooked, which is the kids' way of saying in big trouble.
No, I don't think so either. Partially because I I think above all, she's being sued for insulting them. She's not being sued because people who otherwise, reasonable people, and there is a reasonableness component, obviously, who otherwise would think that Macron's wife is a woman, now thinks she's a man by virtue of her saying that. It's not believable. It's not.
Yeah, but we are talking about France here, where it is illegal to insult the.
But they lost in France. This is a U.S. suit.
Yeah,
Oh.
I would never weigh in on French law. This is about the U.S.
Like I equate Candace's theory something similar to Frazzle Drip, Uma Abedin and Hillary Clinton.
Big Mike that Joan Rivers threw around. No, that's what I'm just saying that there's almost a direct parallel, though, right?
Well, no, because it was more than just she's trans or that Brigitte Macron is born a man. It's that she engaged in what would be statutory rape with Macron if he was 14 at the time. And there's debate about it. Like people have theories that she stole identity. That she's not the mother of her children, that somehow they're blood related to Macron, that they're involved in some Rothschild, murder scheme.
Wow. Coming from Candace, it involves blood, and I wonder what's up with that. That's kind of weird. Please tell me more. What other theories are we looking at here?
Well, I'm just double checking to make sure. I don't think Candace has accused Macron or Emmanuel Brigitte of being Jewish yet. Yes, the day is young. No, but people always float the theory of that the conspiracy theory of Podesta, Frazzle Drip, Hillary Clinton, Uma Abedin, the videos of killing children, and you don't get to sue anybody who says those things for defamation, even if they're outlandish and defamatory per se for a normal person. When people jokingly make jokes about Hillary in the kill list, I mean, on the one hand, it's sort of part of lore. It's part of standard, I would say, freedom of speech when it comes to these types of figures. And however, 219 pages doesn't mean it's a better lawsuit than 50 pages or 40 pages or 30. To me, it was just, some of the allegations of statements of fact were clearly statements of opinion that they themselves admit Candace contradicted in her things. She's like, oh, she doesn't say. What did she say? She said she denied that the photographs existed, but then said she didn't believe the photographs in her lawsuit. Like, okay, good. So you just made her defense. She got the pictures that you sent her that said, here's a picture of Brigitte when she's a kid, and Candace doesn't believe it. Okay, what do you do now? Tough nuggies.
Well, Candace had an interesting thing go viral. I've interviewed Nathan Livingstone, who he's after Andrew Tate already, but he's been spending some time covering Candace lately. And I don't know if you saw this clip. Candace was talking to, heroic Hollywood figure, Harvey Weinstein. And she seems to be looking for particular information from him.
Maybe I really want to push you on this point, Harvey, because I think it's very significant. I mean, you had the greatest movies that were in Hollywood. You had a lot of power, and I'm wondering if there was anybody in Hollywood that you may have been fighting with at that time.
Anybody in Hollywood? Anybody? Hold on.
Just anything that could have been going on, because I think there's something bigger happening here.
There wasn't a fight per se, but the establishment, I would not say, was my friends.
Right. And what is the establishment in Hollywood?
It's normally the big studios, but I can't say that they were part of this.
Right. No, I'm just wondering, who in the end, who owns all those movies now? Who owns your catalog?
Who owns? Who's the establishment?
I don't know where she's going.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, we sold the catalog to a company called Be In, which is owned by the Qatari government, and we sold the other part of the library to a company called Spyglass and Lantern, which is owned by the Saudi Arabian government.
Very interesting. I'm asking these questions.
Very interesting. Now, I'm sure that's exactly what Candace was expecting to hear.
Oh, Nate's here.
Nate is here. Now we got to stop talking about him. David was putting out the salacious rumor that you were saying Candace is cooked.
Oh, me? Yeah. That was so crazy this morning with the video. I literally read through the complaint. I'm like, okay, this is good. And I said after the complaint was read, it's 50-50 because I thought I thought the complaint was good, but I was like, it's 50-50. Next thing I know, I got all these people. This was so biased. The complaint was so one-sided. How can you do this to Candace? I'm like, it's the complaint. Of course, it's supposed to be biased and one-sided and all that. It doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. I think the fans are looking for more than what I can offer.
Well, okay, so we were just talking about that. Ron thinks that she may be okay. I get the impression, David too. I mean, is this a case where Candace can be seen as a almost cartoonish figure? Like her theories are getting so extreme that the defense could be nobody believes the thing that she says.
Well, the argument I would imagine they're going to raise, on the one hand, A, she believes it, and B, she's presented as compelling an argument as you can if that's the theory you're putting forward, and it's clearly a theory. But like, some might regard her as the tabloid, bat boy escapes. Like, oh, I'm going to sue the person for saying my kid's bat boy. Like, she might be, as far as this goes, the modern day, what was it called? National Enquirer? The tabloid one.
Yeah, Weekly World News. We both know the editor of that. Mark, my show partner on AUS, was the editor-in-chief of Weekly World News at one point, and National Lampoon. Comparative publications, technically.
But let's keep it real. I think on one side, I think Candace can obviously use the Rachel Maddow, Tucker Carlson defense, right? No reasonable person will watch this show and think I'm talking about facts, right? These are all opinions, blah, 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 that work for Rachel Maddow. But Rachel Maddow just got hit with the $30 million settlement from the womb collector. I don't know if you guys remember that case where they tried that same thing where, hey, this is a show you saw the last time you said it was all opinion. And in that case, the judge said, no, the difference there is that you were put on notice multiple times that this was fake. And after like the second or third time, then you can't use that. We were just giving opinion because now you're just spreading false rumors.
So what about now where she's doubling down on video?
That's where they're getting the Candace, because don't forget, they had 3 conversations with her. They sent her 3 letters. And then on top of that, they repeatedly said this is true and sent her all this evidence. So I'm thinking that's what they're hoping can overcome that. But I think but right now I see it 50-50. I know Barnes and a couple of you think it's totally over. But I think she can definitely win this. I think if you don't think she can win it, I at this point in time, I think you're being naive.
Okay, pop culture reference here from Linda Richards. Do you know what a lavender marriage is? Candace Owens is Exhibit A.
Hold on.
I think I know what this is, and I think it involves facial hair.
Lavender marriage is a term a marriage of convenience between a man and a woman in which both partners are gay.
Double beard.
Isn't that what she's saying about the French president?
Or is that what they're saying about Candace isn't a lesbian?
There are. Let's just say that George, her husband, who's the son of a peer, I forget his last name. There are some rumors about his very long, comfortable relationship with Andrew Tate. Anyway, I don't know. I'll do the Candace. I don't know.
I'm just asking questions. Lavender marriage. The origin, it's been associated with homosexuality. Lavender marriage came into in the 20s to 50s, especially in Hollywood, where studios enforced strict morality clauses. How does lavender marriage term originate from strict morality clauses? Okay.
Well, because they also have the lavender mafia. You can ask Mark about them. And that is the hierarchy within Hollywood that is very gay, conscious, and focused. Or we'll say the LGBT mafia. Whatever.
Tired today?
No, you don't look tired. You look all right.
But you know what?
I wanted to ask you lawyers a question. And Eric, think about this. In the French case, the French appeals court came back and threw all this stuff out because they said, even if what they're saying is true, even if they're saying Bridget Macron is a man and it's false, let's say it's totally false. The fact of in today, maybe in the 50s, it was okay. Saying someone is trans is defamatory. But in today's world, it is absolutely not defamatory. And in some instances, it's a good thing. So the French court said because
this is a problem, right? This is
because they specifically said that she's a man.
Well, that's a little bit like my case with JT with Smash JT.
Yeah.
A woman, a militant woman, goes on the internet and builds a brand around being a whore, and repeatedly refers to herself as a sex worker, and then sues my client for calling her a prostitute, which he didn't actually use that word. He said she's sex worker. I look it up anywhere. It means she takes money for having sex.
Question on that.
How does this plaintiff even claim that that's defamatory? She's got all these tweets saying sex work is real work. And I'm celebrating International Whores Day.
Well, a question on that whore. I mean, I'm being serious here. Is that a colloquial term like creep? Like, oh, he's a creep. Like like one of these that's an opinion term, but not necessarily legal.
It kind of is. So you have to look at the context.
Yeah. Prostitute, because prostitute's a legal term. It's actually it's prostitute.
Right. What they're left with after they saw my first motion to dismiss was they amended the complaint and said, well, no, not the whore stuff, but
Everything in this should be in a South Park episode. I'm just saying.
Everything should be what, Nick? What?
South Park episode.
Oh, speaking of South Park. Oh, good. You know what? You bring up a good case.
South Park character.
Yeah. Well, the gay slur episode I did, which was, yeah.
Oh, what about Woman of the Year? The Woman of the Year.
Oh.
That was funny.
I'm curious about South Park.
The only case I remember is People versus Larry Flint when it comes to that's the big known case about what can you actually say in written or spoken form. And
that's even been shifted around. But no, have you guys seen they did the South Park, which shredded Trump, went after Trump, right? But the big question is, at the end of it, they had a campaign ad for Trump that I think by most accounts, it would be seen as an obscene ad. Some might find it hilarious. Some might find it, obscene, but however you look at it, it's pretty strong message that involved full nudity of what I think is an AI generated version of him. What point, I mean, is that a free for all? Is it not? Is there a point of stolen identity for obscenity purposes? How does that all work?
It's nothing. There's nowhere to go.
Okay.
Falwell versus Hostler. It's First Amendment. It's everyone understands that it's parody. The commercial you're saying, first of all, the commercial comes in the context of the program, and let's put it this way: the fact that Trump hasn't already threatened to sue tells you that there's nothing there, because he's not particularly tolerant.
I mean, way back in the 70s, you had Monty Python doing their Mr. Hilton's Mr. Hilter episode, where a certain person with a certain mustache was actually had not been self-ended. He was in a bed and breakfast in Bristol.
But listen, I one thing I do want to say though, if someone was to call me transgender, or someone was to call, matter of fact, I'll even ask the chat, if someone was making the claim that you were transgender, that you were the opposite sex and you're living a lie, you're telling me you wouldn't feel that was defamatory to you? I think that would be defamatory toward me. But we live in this crazy woke world where you can now say this and it's not defamatory because a small subset of the population don't think so. So I do think if someone was making these claims about you, I would feel most people in the chat would feel it was defamatory. But I could be wrong.
Isn't that interesting? Well, but here's the thing: a lot of you have these claims of defamation per se, being accused of unchastity, carrying a loathsome disease, being unable to being incompetent at your profession. And what's the fourth one?
I don't know.
Disease, profession. Here it is, 4. disease, profession, crime. You're missing crime. You committed a crime.
Oh, you're a criminal. Okay. So you have an entire industry, rap music, built around projection of being a criminal.
Yes.
Loathsome disease, who has, having AIDS has actually became in the 90s a badge of pride. Literally, you're supposed to have pride. Although I think that one probably still has legs. On chastity, 2025, that's still defamation per se.
Yeah, still defamation per se.
And of course, people are routinely, everyone here who's a lawyer knows we're routinely accused of not being competent at what we do. That's not even. So probably these really it's time to take a good. My point is, when you say Nate, that seems like it should be an insult, because I would be insulted. Listen, I'm a normal guy. If someone said, "Ron, you've committed homosexual acts," that would be defamatory. That would be defamatory to me.
Because aren't they also accusing you of adultery, which is could be seen as a crime, right? And defrauding your wife, and by saying this stuff
in New Jersey. I don't know.
Well, but there's also an aspect of civil defamation law in terms of the plaintiff's unique definition to the plaintiff. So, for instance, if you are a Christian pastor, and then with that, and then someone says he's really gay, he's really this, that I think could be in your specific case, because your profession, your job, everything depends on you not being that thing. So I think there's certain aspects of it where if the law has to.
That's a good
stretch,
point.
because if I'm in a homosexual relationship, then you can say those things. It's not going to be defamatory for me, but that's different if you're a Bible thumping wingnut. You know what I mean?
Well, hold on now. Somebody brought up a good point in the chat, and I'm going to follow up with yet another thing, because about the it's parody and whatever it can be said or not. What about the laws for creating AI prawn of real people? That's that's a hard line question there, in terms of parody. And I just want to, bring up this case, because parody seems to be a free for all. And Ron, you mentioned that, South Park people, hey, this venue, it's a parody show. People know, don't take this seriously. Would you all agree that National Lampoon is considered a non-serious publication? It is a parody magazine, right? So,
it doesn't, to my knowledge, it doesn't exist anymore. But
okay, well, here is a case that actually happened. This is an ad in the National Lampoon. Fake ad. If Ted Kennedy drove a Volkswagen, he'd be president today. And it's about Chappaquiddick and the old thing about how Volkswagens actually can float, and that has been proven out. In that case, they were sued for $30 million, ultimately losing in a settlement, resulting in the recall of 135,000 magazine copies, destruction of printing plates, removal of the ad from reprinted materials, and press release correction. So
what year was that in? That was probably 72. 72?
72, yeah.
Would never happen now.
Okay, so things have changed. That's why I wanted to ask the interesting.
Yep.
Okay, so what about that other question that was brought up about the AI prawn? Because there are laws about revenge prawn, if you will, and some really gross things like high schoolers who are creating images of their peers who are underage, and it's knocking it up to the level of CP, even though they're not real images. What about all of that?
Over here, they saw that with it's about the likeness of a person, because anime, or the not dirty form of it, is not regarded as CP, because it's drawings, images, not of real people. But when you add the likeness of people, as these high schoolers making likeness of a peer, or the likeness of a celebrity or the like, all of a sudden you go into a new level of law over here, at least in the European Union. So they solved it with if you add the likeness of a person.
So is it
into
a realism argument? Like the more realistic the image, where I can be confused that
if
is.
You can be confused, yes.
Okay. Well, what about here in America?
I don't know.
I tell you, in Canada, even cartoons of CP or animations depictions are themselves forbidden, restricted, criminal. I'm not. I think it's. I thought it was the same in the States, but I might be wrong. So that's how they're going to. I don't think that's going to be the issue. I think the issue is going to be people who don't know it and do these stupid things, then might actually get busted for possession of child pornography in Canada.
Okay, how about adults and revenge porn? Let's just go to another level here, because there are the elements of the offensive. If you take somebody you AI generate, and I don't know, I'm just curious where you guys think it could go. And is this a public figure question again versus private figure too? And how does that work?
I don't really know. I haven't gotten involved in a case involving AI and porn. It's gonna, I think it's going to be a tricky one.
Yeah, is it something? I think it's something that we're going to be seeing. We have to be seeing, because I feel like the technology is driving faster than our laws know what to do with.
Well, apparently that Sydney Sweeney ad was apparently totally AI generated. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, I'm out of here. That's a joke.
It was a good joke, but why are people so upset with that ad? It's because
it's straight up. My theory is it's straight up jealousy on the one hand, because I can't really accuse. I guess I could accuse white people of being anti-white racist. It's jealousy for the Karens who are saying this is racist because she's, by all objective metrics,
she's attractive.
She's a beautiful woman. Yeah,
she's a beautiful woman. And I think that I would say I don't want to get canceled like Joey Swoll here, so I'm going to say non-white people. I'd say anyone who's black or considers themselves brown or whatever that says this is racist because of like Nazi era echoes is basically admitting they find white people more attractive than their own race, and they're projecting their own racism onto other people. The bottom line is it could have been any.
There you go. I'm labeling it for David.
No, like Justine Wong put up a funny one this morning. Let me see if I can find it, where she said, she's in yellow. She's wearing yellow jeans. Yes. And I replied, "You got good jeans." I mean, like hardy har. It could have been anyone of any race, of any creed on that, so long as they would be physically fantastic specimens of a human. And it's only because she's white and has blue eyes that people are accusing it of being racist. Can
I point out how stupid it is? It even goes beyond that, because there is an argument that they could have made. It'd still be stupid in my opinion, but they could have just said objectification of women. So they even threw out the feminist argument that could have been thrown in that might even have a cousin of reality to go for racism, which nobody saw. Nobody even thought race. They thought, okay, what is Sydney Sweeney known for? Good bones, good body, good eyes, right? And the truth is that genetically speaking, she's considered a objectively beautiful female. So they could have gone for objectification, but nope, they're too stupid, and they're like, oh, racism's got a bigger stick.
Well, the opening on the racism was good genes. Eugenics.
Like genes don't exist. My father's 5'6". I'm 5'6". Nobody in our family has been over 6 feet tall ever, as far as I know. Maybe back to the Vikings. It's
what Vikings?
I'm joking. There's no Vikings in our family.
What? I'm defamed.
It depends what your physical preferences are, as far as this is an objectively beautiful person right here.
Yep.
By the way, the comment here actually does lean in to be borderline on that one.
Oh, of course, because she's Asian and she's
Yes,
yellow.
exactly. So,
And I was going to make the joke.
I do want to say, clarify a little bit. Like, I can recognize that this is a kissing cousin to that term.
No, it's clearly the joke, and it's going to be like me. I don't know. I don't know how you lean into like Jew jeans, but like I'll have jeans made out of, I don't know. Yeah, I got many jokes that I won't make, but Jew jeans, and then I'll say, "Don't these look good on me?" But no, that was clearly needling the joke about the absurdity of it. Yeah, but then there's another fine-looking specimen of a human. Could have been a man, and I would have been just as competent. That's bad. Okay.
No, I like that she said that though, because nobody can criticize her for saying it, even if you want to call it that, because she is Asian. So she made the joke. She gets a pass. Nate, tell us the rules and how that works.
Yes, you have to be of the race to make fun of the race, right? That's isn't that the way it goes?
Yeah, that's what it seems to be. Yeah, it's like you get the pass. It's like, oh, hey, nope, they get the pass. So I love it. And yeah, he's dead, Jim. American Eagle should immediately hire Halle Berry and do a gene shot with her.
I don't know. Halle Berry kind of took herself out of the market with that stupid dancing video that she did with her. The bed video with her new boyfriend on Valentine's Day. Did you guys not see that?
No.
Well, let me go find it, and everyone's gonna vomit in their mouths a little bit. Halle.
Oh, thank you. Well, don't rush.
It's so cringe.
Somebody said she's like 60. It's like, look, I've seen her. Okay, she's not. She's holding up well. Everybody wants their wife to be that at 60. Okay, just trust me.
Hey, transition before we get the Halle Berry video. What did you guys think about this Jacksonville arrest of this guy from the car? At first, he put the video. Have you guys seen that?
From what I understand, the fight is bigger between it's a bigger fight instead of the cop and the guy arrested between Officer Tatum and lead attorney. That's the true brawl.
Yeah. There's like multiple fights going on. So essentially, this kid gets pulled over. It's that kid. He's 22, 23-year-old guy gets pulled over by the police. So he opens up his door. He says, why are you pulling me over? The cop said, I'm pulling you over because you didn't have your headlights on when it was raining, number one. And number two, you weren't wearing your seatbelt. The guy says, it's not raining right now. So they said, okay, well, that doesn't matter. When essentially, I told you the reason why I pulled you over. Now give me your license registration. The guy says he's not giving up his license registration. So the police officer then says, okay, step out of the car. So now, obviously, that's 1,000% legal, right? Step out of the car, and we'll search you. The kid then slams the car door and locks himself in the car and says he's not coming out, not coming out, not coming out.
This is the one when he starts recording in the car before they break the window, and then people saying, this is America. So Grok actually said, this isn't America. This is somewhere in the UK. I was like, dude, nobody in that video has a British accent. Yeah, so he starts recording at a convenient time where nobody sees what happened beforehand, and he looks like the innocent victim just sitting in his car waiting for them to break the window. Yeah.
Yeah, he just sits there. Oh yeah, he just sits there. It's very obvious that he wanted to do a viral video.
Yes, but he put it out and got some traction. Here I'll share the because
there are some people out there who deliberately do videos to audit the cops, if you will. I think one of them is literally called audit channels. Have you run across those where you get somebody who, I'm not going to say sovereign citizen, but sometimes they sound like them.
Yes,
and they go out deliberately and they're kind of the biggest assholes they can be to see if the cops will, go overboard. That's my opinion, but it does seem like they go out of their way to be unpleasant to where the cop may overreact to them.
Yes. No, I agree with that 1,000%. But the problem here is that this guy, now the reason why he didn't turn over his ID, shock horror, he didn't have a license. His license was suspended.
Oh no.
Say it isn't so.
Yeah, so his license is suspended, he's driving dirty, and that's the reason why he didn't pull up the
But he wouldn't give him his license.
No. He would not give up his license at all.
So at that point, you're disobeying. you know,
But
that you are required to do.
Well, technically, he couldn't.
Well, technically, he couldn't give up his
Well,
license.
he could give a
have it.
physical license. It might be expired, but he can hand over a physical, you know. Whoa, why aren't you pulling, Nate?
Yes, sir. Is there a reason why you're popping the door open like that? I don't have a window that works. Is there a reason that you're pulling me over? Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason why I'm pulling you over. For one thing, inclement weather, you don't have your lights on. Two things, you're not wearing your seatbelt. It's daylight. I don't need the lights. And it's not weather. It's not raining.
Oh,
this is inclement. It's not raining. Okay, I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you why I'm pulling you over. Give me your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance. No, call your supervisor. Why?
Excuse me?
Call your supervisor.
Call your supervisor.
All right, I'll pause it.
I've already told you.
Like, put it up. If you could
Go
pause
ahead.
it. What is wrong? I appreciate I'm Canadian and people are going to say, Viva, know your rights and exercise your rights at all costs, even if it means acting like a total jackass. What's the problem with just giving him your license and taking the ticket?
He doesn't have a license. His license suspended.
Right. So
Well,
he's
That's the big problem.
right.
All
So
right,
he's playing verbal diarrhea to get the cop to leave him alone by, you know, saying, "Oh, look, you're bugging me, you're harassing me, you're this, you're that." I mean,
Viva's
it's,
like, what's the problem? Why don't you give me a license?
No,
Because he doesn't have one.
But I know that there's some people who are going to try to racialize the incident and say, like, this is the the indoctrinated belligerence with authorities. And I mean, I know I see a lot of people of all races, creeds, and ethnicities being asses with cops. Like, what's the problem? If you get a ticket, contest it in court and just move on, and don't be even if it means exercising your lawful rights. But I appreciate the other argument. If you let them get away with it here, they're going to do it even more somewhere else. But now, him not having a license, we've answered that question. But in general, I think people should.
Are you telling me being an ass to a cop doesn't work?
No, it doesn't.
well, that's like car chases. Somebody answer me why people still run from cops in car chases? Help me understand.
As of the invention of the helicopter, it no longer works.
Oh, the radio. Screw the helicopter. Just the radio.
Cannot run the radio. Helicopter, drones. You're right. It's almost impossible.
It's just ludicrous.
Oh, no. Today it's absolutely impossible, I would imagine. But then that being said, I don't know why cops still insist on having them, because it just leads to people getting killed. Let the person get your aerial surveillance and let the person drive off and think they got away with it. But
Now, one thing I do want to mention, everybody, is that so it's not raining as of right now, right? So this was a huge point of contention because the cop has told you the two reasons we pulled him over: no seatbelt, which he's not wearing a seatbelt, and two, he didn't have his headlights on in the rain. So now the internet went crazy. It's not raining right now. It's not raining. You can see he's pulled over, and it's not raining. It's not raining. It's not raining.
Look at the pavement.
Yeah,
the pavement's
the
wet.
car. There's raindrops on the car too.
Also, David, you probably have more experience filming than any of us here, especially with like your phone and modern equipment. Have you noticed that you could be filming in the rain, but you don't see the rain when you're filming because a lot of the cameras are correcting for that to get the clearest image possible? So it could actually even be drizzling at this exact moment, but it may not be picked up on video. I have seen that, but you can confirm you have more experience than I do.
I don't know if I've ever noticed that. I mean, sometimes you cannot tell, but it's clearly overcast, and I would argue the pavement is clearly dark wet. So I can't see the car too well.
But even without that, in Florida, it could be raining on this side of the street and not raining on the other side of the street. I used to live in Florida where it would rain and we'd be like, it's raining just on the basketball court. This is crazy, right? Because it's spotty like that. Now, in this particular case, you could have a situation where the cop observed the guy driving in the rain without the lights on, and by the time they pulled him over, right here, it just stopped raining. That's 100% possible. So that's what the argument, because some attorneys, like the lead attorney and this other guy who got like 1 million subscribers, his argument is that the cop must pull this person over while it's raining. He must be pulled over in the act. So if you're speeding, if you're not, he's got to pull you over while you're speeding, while the ludicrous car is. That's crazy. Right?
That's like you can only be arrested while you're robbing the bank, but if you're done, you're all clear.
Exactly. That's what the lead attorney and the other guy. So that's the big argument. But here, we'll let me finish this. So we all know what the argument. Then I'll show you what lead says.
Okay.
Step out of the vehicle. No, step out of the vehicle.
Look. Isn't that resisting?
Now, to make a traffic stop, police need reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion, it's essentially a Terry stop. Now, to make an arrest, you need probable cause. This closing the door, refusing to give over the ID, and saying, I'm not going to comply with lawful law, that's resisting. This is your probable cause for an arrest. Now, this happens for another 8 minutes where they beg him. They literally are begging him. Open the door, open the door, open the door, open the door, open the door. He doesn't open the door. Then this is what happens. I fast forwarded it.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands. Here. What is your reason? No, don't touch it.
Now, he was punched when they took him out the car, and that was the issue.
Okay.
What you mean? I was putting my hands behind my back. I was going now, man.
So when there's another angle when he's in the car, he's actually got punched. He got punched in the car. So they're saying that punch was
from his phone, right?
From
He
his
was
phone.
recording.
Yeah. So this essentially, so they're saying this is all racism, even though the cops are black, and they're saying that because of the fact that they punched
Nate, that's internalized racism.
Black people are the worst anti-black racists. Everybody knows that. They have adopted the white culture. No, it is. They did that with there were a number of them with George Floyd. There was the non-white guy in the group, and with the guy Daniel Penny on the subway. There's no way to get around the accusation of racism. If everyone involved, it's a culture of racism that they have to adopt. And be
let's stop it right there. Officer Tatum said, "No, all right."
Oh, sorry.
I thought I was actually going schizo. I thought I heard.
You did your lead in the background, and Lee really wanted to make a big deal out of the word inclement, which I thought was hilarious. He spent a lot of time saying, and no, I mean, Lee seems like a good guy and all that, but his video, I don't know who it's for. I shared it with Nate, but I feel like the way he presented his video was insulting to everybody, including his own audience. It was so like Mr. Rogers-y, like, we're gonna go to law school here and
Who was it? I didn't see that analysis.
Lead attorney. Well, I think Nate's gonna be probably pulling it up here.
Yeah, I'll pull it up in a second. I just wanted to get the right spot.
Of justice, exactly why I am part of this car.
You know what? Let me remove this so you guys can stop hearing this.
This is what playing in the background sounds like. It is wild that people are just so stupid to jump on the immediate racial angle of it when clearly it was a kid being an idiot. I didn't even see that the police body cam footage before I said, this kid had time to set up his camera and sit there and make himself look like a martyr while they smashed up. The punch in the face. I'm not a cop, but what the hell are you supposed to do? I mean, I don't know that that's proper protocol, but sitting there waiting for them to smash his window, man, it was quite clear that it was a setup, and he started recording at the exact proper time for people to run with a fake narrative.
Which is kind of what I was talking about earlier. I feel like, to a degree, it could be seen by some that maybe he was egging them on or aggravating them to such a degree to get them to lose their temper and do something untoward. I'm not saying that they should ever punch anybody out of turn, obviously, but there has to be some degree of responsibility from the driver. I mean, have any of you guys watched some of these body cam videos out there, like Midwest Safety? It's, oh my God. Look, if you ever want to feel for cops, just go watch those videos, because the amount of time.
So one of the things that, I'm sorry, Eric, but one of the things that I'm seeing increasingly people saying on social media is the BLM forcing the use of body cams has been the worst thing for the civil rights lawsuit, the police
the grift. We'll just call it the racial grift.
The grift, yeah. Because people can see what's really going on now.
Yeah, and they can see that these cops aren't just going after people just because of skin color. They're doing things that are forcing a reaction.
What you see in these videos is the underclass in this country, black and white. They're in a shit load of trouble.
Yeah.
These people, I mean, I really don't believe that when I was a kid, people, lower middle class and working class people were this utterly depraved. And these chases.
You know what? I disagree.
That's because they legalized. That's because they legalized robbery, and they legalized a lot of stuff.
No,
right? I mean, the standards are so high that it's like this allowance is, I feel, causing them to go more and more and more and more.
I think it's always been kind of this way, except now we're just able to see it because of technology.
That could be that, yeah. That's always a possibility. Absolutely. I mean, I took a course in American social history when I was in college with the great Sean Mullentz, and life in the underclass was definitely not a pretty thing. Also, in the England of Dickens, I mean.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to over romanticize the past. That's definitely true.
That's true. Here is the lead attorney explaining why the stop was illegal because it wasn't raining at the time.
He called his video "Officer Tatum is a bootlicking
stops raining." So that it was raining when the officer pulled the driver over, but it's not raining 20 seconds into the video. That is a possibility technically, but just going on the video as we see it, I believe it is not currently raining. What did we say about the law? We said, young law student, that every vehicle operated upon a highway, every driver is required to have their headlights on during any rain, smoke, or fog. So was this driver required to have his headlights on? If the officer pulled the driver over during the rain, then yes. But if the officer pulled the driver over when it was not raining, then no. Now,
you got the way he's talking. Hold on, Nate. Am I wrong or too sensitive with the presentation? It's like, it's so pedantically speaking. It's kind of insulting to everybody.
I understand he's trying to do it as a law professor. I don't know. I'm not taking it as insulting, but the fact that he's wrong because because he's specifically saying we have to read the statute word for what it is and not add anything to it. And now he's added a whole extra piece to it. The police can only pull the driver over while it's raining. That's not in the statute. That's nowhere to be found in the statute. But he's added that to the statute. And then later on in this video, he's going to then make fun of Tatum for adding inclement weather to the statute that's not there. So it's just wild because essentially what the lead attorney's saying, his professional opinion is, the only way a cop can pull someone over in this instance is by catching them in the act. And when you pull them over and the car is stopped, it still must be raining because if the rain stops before you write that ticket, you have no violation, which is absurd.
Oh shit, the rain stopped. Okay, sorry.
When you hear all these content creators, these YouTubers talking about this issue and you don't know who's right, now you know how to think for yourself. Now you know how to legally analyze whether this driver was required to have his headlights on or not. Now, law student of mine, I'm going to give you a quick pop quiz. I am going to have you analyze some of the comments of the regular people, the people who are not in law school like you are. And I want to see if, here's the first comment. It says the ground is wet and there are water particles on his windows. Just because it isn't currently raining doesn't negate the fact that inclement weather was and is still problematic. All right, law student of mine, do you see a problem with this argument?
I don't see a problem with that argument.
No,
I think it's the correct argument. I know he's going to tell us now. Listen to how he says the arguments are off.
Let's look at this one. TLA. We can see that law student, the internet. This is why I love YouTube. You guys can learn to critically think in a legal manner, just as we attorneys do. No information, no knowledge is locked behind CT4s. Now you guys know something that these regular laymen do not. All right, now let's see what Officer Tatum has to say about this. Let's see if we can spot any issues to his thinking, to his rationale, or is lackluster wrong. Let's take a look.
You're going to hear this guy talk about it. You see people say it online. It's the most asinine and ridiculous claim. It's because they hate police and they always want the police to be wrong. So they will make up anything. It wasn't raining. Look at this video. This is fresh rain droplets still hanging onto his vehicle. If somehow it wasn't inclement weather, which means it wasn't raining at all, you wouldn't still see rain droplets on his car.
Now, obviously, this is a very pedantic argument, and everybody's now focusing on whether it's raining or not. But the overall thing is that it seems like if you're trying to defend the kid, you're saying, wait, it wasn't raining when the officers turned on the body camera. But I think just so we all know too, for the chat, the judge said the stop was legal. The person pled guilty because the stop was legal. And obviously you need just reasonable suspicion for this stop. So everyone who's looked at the case, the DA, everybody said the stop is legal, the stop is legal, the stop is legal. The only person who's saying it was unfortunately TLA. And I think
he should have hired TLA. Obviously TLA would have gotten him off.
Maybe, but the argument of itself is extremely ridiculous, right? It's extremely ridiculous. And also TLA believes that you need probable cause to pull a vehicle over, which is obviously not the standard. It's reasonable suspicion. But I'm not gonna go into that. So, but at the end of the day, I think this kid is toast. I don't think he should get paid a dime. I don't think he should get paid a dime.
Oh, hold on. David Moore disagrees with you. You are a bootlicker, Nate.
Okay.
Not only is Nate a bootlicker, Nate was a cop. Nate is a boot wearer. What do you have to say about that?
That's true. But I do think, and as I think we've all discussed it before about the cop slapping the kid and punching him and all. I think that was all excessive. I think that was too much. I think they should get some suspension or something for that. They should
at least remedial training and internal.
Yeah.
But I agree with all that, and I don't agree with slapping and things like that. But I do get frustrated with people who, again, back to Ron acknowledges that too. When you watch those body cam videos of the cops and imagine that this is your fifth stop of the day in a similar type of encounter, how much tolerance do any of us have? I am sitting there going, I think I'm pretty mellow in general, and I try not to let things bother me, but I don't know if I could be a cop. I don't know if I could tolerate the behaviors put forth by some of these individuals being, pulled over or caught shoplifting and whatever. It is just mind-boggling to see. You're muted, Ron.
Yeah, Ron.
What I also find amazing is, we're familiar with the decriminalization of violent crime in this country. A lot of these, like I think Midwest Safety they don't follow through with everything that, but evidently you can lead police on these insane car chases, going through multiple counties and insane stuff. And there's like a charge of fleeing and you might get 6 months or something. I would think that would be as serious a felony. You're putting so many people at risk.
Oh yeah.
And causing so much property damage. I don't know. I'm surprised that it seems to be a really under I don't want to say undercharged, but these people don't seem there doesn't seem to be much of a disincentive not to run. Compared to the incentive to run is to not get arrested, which is pretty high.
What do you guys think about so there's a famous rapper, Glorilla, who was just arrested for weed violation, for felony weed possession. Now, the facts of the case are simple. She's at her home in Atlanta or wherever. It's an upscale neighborhood. She's upstairs and she hears people downstairs in her house. She calls 911, grabs the rackets, goes downstairs and starts blasting away. There's people in there. So she's blasting away. The people run, they run out, right? Cops come to the house. She's nervous. She's telling them what happened. One of the cops, says, oh, the guy's gone. One of the cops says, hey, I smelled marijuana. The cops leave, come back with a warrant to search her house, find her stash of marijuana and arrest her and send her to jail. So now the internet's all in an outrage of how the hell do we go from her having a violent robbery in her house, violent burglary, to the cops smelling marijuana and say, we're going to get a warrant to search your house and do that. So did the cops go overboard, or is this problematic for people wanting to call police who may be in these situations? Because that's what the internet's going on now. That why call the police if they're going to be arresting the victims? What do you guys think about that?
Well, are you talking about? I'm sorry, I got distracted. Somebody's telling me I need it. We got raided by another channel, Boiling Point Live, which is very cool. So everybody check that out on Rumble. I don't know how to do Rumble raids. So somebody's saying, so now you have to raid somebody.
Yeah. So you just, by the way, not that you're mentioning it, but I'm going to duck out after we look at the Halle Berry video. You do / the word raid and then the link to their channel, and then you hit go in the chat. In the chat on Rumble.
Oh, okay.
You'll see it. Put up the Halle Berry thing for a second. But no, I think first of all, I think they should probably be decriminalizing marijuana to begin with. And I say that as someone who doesn't do that stuff. Also, if they make it impossible for people to call the police for breaking and entering, you're going to be coming, over to a lot more shooting incidents as opposed to actually calling the cops for these types of incidents. So,
I want to ask people on that. Hold on. You said decriminalizing. No, you said decriminalizing, which is a specific term. Is decriminalization better than a legalization with a regulation? And I'm asking, legitimately, like, if you just decriminalize it, are you going to have problems with fentanyl mix in this and that or whatever? But by potentially legalizing it and regulating, what is a better choice? I really want to ask the whole panel, or just keep it illegal. Period.
Take Halle Berry out of this for this particular discussion. That does. I don't know. You could. There's no right or wrong answer. Just the trade-offs that are going to come along with it. One, total criminality. You end up with a generation of people in jail for non-violent crimes. Flip side, you could go look up at Canada in terms of.
When you say that, David, can we point out one little fallacy that I love how they always talk about this? Like, all these people are locked up in the federal prison for non-violent crimes. Now, Nate, you were a prosecutor. How many times do you have like a distributor or somebody who will plead down their charges, but there could well be other things that are tied in? You're just not seeing them on the record. And in the future, you're saying, oh, look at that. It's just a non-violent marijuana possession. And they've been in there for 5 years.
Well, that is, that's the exception, not the rule. Generally, like places like in New York that had the Rockefeller drug laws, most people talk, where they were targeting non-violent offenders heavily. So Viva's right and correct, where there were a massive amount of non-violent people who were essentially addicts. And that's when the law started addressing addiction as a medical problem rather than a criminal problem. So that's why a lot of times now, if people are arrested for drugs, they're offered treatment in lieu of criminalization, because that's kind of how society's starting to see it now. But one of the biggest issues with the drug problem was, like, for instance, the disproportionate enforcement of a lot of these drug laws. Sean Hannity and Donald Trump are two people who have been advocating for a change in the law, which I'm surprised most people don't realize. And the change in the law is that there was a crack cocaine distinction and cocaine distinction, where if you were caught with the same amount of crack and the same amount of cocaine, you did like another 50 years for the crack.
True.
And you would do like 50 years less for the cocaine.
Hold on, Nate. And who wanted that? Who
the Democrats, Biden,
but even more specifically, the community leaders in the black communities, if I recall,
wanted that distinction. Yes, wanted that distinction. So what happens is that distinction that started having, locking up huge amounts of black people because they were the ones who were using crack cocaine a lot, and a lot of white people. Now, once that most people point to show that the crime, that the enforcement issue was Los Angeles County. Now, we all know LA is a very liberal place. It's very progressive. But from like 1989 all the way to like for 10 years, not one white person in LA was ever charged with the crack cocaine violation. They were all minorities in like a 10-year period. So that was the evidence that, hey, you're telling me in 10 years, no white person in LA, where there's millions of people, have ever used or got caught with crack cocaine?
Certainly not in Hollywood.
No.
So they do
the pure stuff. They go powder there.
They were freebasing cocaine.
Oh, freebasing. So it's you create your own.
Freebase is crack.
Freebase is hold on. Freebase, I thought was a combination of heroin and cocaine, and not crack.
I'll show you the video. It's freebasing cocaine is actually it's essentially crack, but they call it freebase if you're rich, and they call it crack.
Oh no, I mean that's a speedball. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go on.
But so that's what essentially is making it made the distinction. But now I think at the end of the day, the problem is that when you remove this, now you have all these people who are in jail now who weren't committing, they were just abusers of the drug. And now what do? Do you let those people out? And then when you do let those people out, now they have these records, so it's going to be harder for them to get jobs. So that's the issue that people want to solve. But now how do you solve it? I just don't know.
Well, you can expunge records technically, right? I mean, there are records expunged all the time, like juveniles. Don't they have it where somebody could be a juvenile, they do a crime, however serious, and then when they're an adult, it gets put aside? So
don't
isn't
forget
a precedence that?
But don't forget, Obama, they had asked Obama when he was president to pardon everyone, not just black people, but everyone who had been overcharged with this distinction. And he could have done it, because just like they pardoned the whole entire Confederacy, but he refused to do it. But he could have pardoned everyone and said, okay, if your punishment would be the same as if it was just crack. But they didn't.
As a matter of fact, there's a more recent mass pardoning that describes what you're saying, and that was Jimmy Carter pardoned all draft dodgers.
Yeah.
And that technically was a blanket pardon, but I don't know.
Okay, now
back to the original question: legal or not? I only got David's. You're kind of.
I would policy wise, I would go for legal and regulated as opposed to decriminalized. In terms of what I think would be the lesser of the evils, but some people can look at Canada and say it's not the lesser of the evils and better off keeping it illegal. But
yeah, okay. Anybody else have thoughts? I don't know what it's like in Sweden, if it's legal, not legal, or.
Okay, play this one, and then apparently they say marijuana cures nausea. Play this one, but this is not the gross one. The truly gross one is the second one.
But you're gonna have to play the Viva, I think.
No, I think I sent it to Hunley.
Oh, hold on. I've got to do it. Okay, let me find my screen.
No, I'm here on the screen. Oh, there it is.
This is her acting. Oh, she's so cute.
Okay, but I mean, look, she is in good shape. I think that objectively speaking,
just has to show you. You just got to show off what an amazing place she has.
She's goofy as hell. But
go to the next one when she's in bed. And my goodness, oh yeah, because her bathing suit fell off. Oh, I didn't know that was going to happen. Yes, physically, she's people should aspire to have a healthy physique.
Right.
All right, go to the next one when she's in bed and play the audio for this one. And tell me if am I crazy, or does her boyfriend not look a lot like a bit of a bulkier Will Smith?
Hang on.
I swear to you, when I pulled it, I was like, oh, I wanted the one with her new boyfriend, not Will Smith. I'm like, oh, look, it's crazy. Okay, listen.
That could be Will's dad.
So, showed y'all how my day started, how my Mother's Day started, and now I'm gonna tell you about. I'm not gonna show you. I'm gonna tell you about how my Mother's Day is gonna end. You know, right?
Yes. I wish you'd hurry up.
Thanks.
Look at this.
First of all, we got our Let's Spin, because Let's Spin just came out in this cute little travel size. And so since we're in Cannes, France, I traveled with it for the first time, and we're about to give it a spin.
You about to Cannes with Van.
They're talking about having sex.
Well, yeah, I kind of guessed.
Yeah.
I'm slow, but
all of you.
I think they're trying to sell that lube. I think the lube is.
Oh yeah, it's
a brand deal.
Yeah, you know what?
It's hers.
Well, maybe they need to state that this is an advertisement.
Yeah.
It's not an advertisement. What it is, it's Ipecac for the soul. Does everybody know what Ipecac is?
Yes.
Ron knows what Ipecac is.
Yeah, syrup Ipecac. Yes.
You got to be above a certain age. Ipecac is what you would drink it. It makes you vomit.
Yeah, and I agree with who's handsome. She sounds high.
Oh yeah, well, more like maybe on the antidepressants or something. Okay, I don't want to start the Exodus, but I got.
Oh, she could have been having some Kamala juice. No.
Someone said she sounds just like Kamala in there. Everybody, peace out, rock out. I'm on at 3:00, so I don't know who's going to raid me this afternoon, but got to get my show ready. Everybody, Godspeed. Have a good weekend.
All right, bro.
See you, man.
Yeah.
See you, Viva.
All right, we're gonna have to figure out how to raid later. I don't even know what shows are going on.
What does that mean? What is rating?
It means that whoever's watching the show right now on Rumble gets moved over to the other channel. They have a redirect on YouTube, which you can do through the back end, and it could be really helpful for people, doing trying to discover new channels.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. People on Rumble, maybe they can make a suggestion.
I have to do an exit as well. I need to prepare for my own shows today.
Okay.
But we're leaving right now, right? It's 4 minutes.
Yeah, I'm wrapping up right now, as a matter of fact. So, I mean, you can.
Yeah, but Ron, I sent you some contact info to people you might be interested in.
Oh, for our lawsuit. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, so you can get the more in-depth into what the European laws are about.
Thank
so
you.
It's in the private chat. And if you need more, I will be happy to try to get a hold of more people for you to talk to.
Nick, I'm supposed to get with you on, is it Delphi or something coming up, or I forget.
Delphi, we got portions of the Delphi trial transcripts because it's only been 8 months since he was sentenced. So now finally we have what the clerk of court said was, this is what the appellate lawyers got. I looked through the first 2 volumes and said, we're missing stuff.
Okay.
But we then found out that the appellate attorneys got the full version. We peasants only got some redactions, let's just say that. So we are, we're not especially happy again.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm going to do a live reading in an hour when it is the in-camera meeting. I'm not saying hearing, I'm saying meeting, where Judge Gall decided to either you recuse yourself or I'm going to disqualify you live. The only time she allowed cameras in the courtroom is when she was about to disqualify Rick Allen's attorneys. And we have the record of that in-camera proceedings, and I'm going to do a live reading of that. Now, Rick's attorneys got reinstated by the Indiana Supreme Court, but that took away 4 months from them being able to represent him.
All right. Well, you and I will probably get together for an interview or something to cover the whole case at some point. You're getting ready for your show now. You're going live later today?
In about an hour for the reading, and then hopefully will be able to put together some sort of panel show later today, because I've started to look into the Laura Owens, the tonsil twin who magically got pregnant with twins through a BJ. That has done so on several occasions, apparently. And now she is being charged with felonies by the state for perjury and tampering with evidence. 7 counts.
Oh, wow.
And she's still seeking restraining orders against the men she defrauded.
All right. Well, Nate, what do you have coming up other than attacking lead attorney or being attacked by Macron lawsuit?
Oh, yeah, the Macron lawsuit stuff. So I was recently asked by Mr. Beast and his team to be a part of the clean water thing. He actually just released a video, but I didn't do it because obviously I'm doing the stuff with my wife and stuff like that. But he has released the video with the other 3,000 creators that they also asked. So even though I'm not doing it, it's hashtag Team Water, and they're trying to bring clean water to over 2 million people. It's a very good cause. So I was asked to do it. I did not do it, but I feel like it's extremely good cause, and I think people should promote it. So that's something I think it's at least worthwhile. For my own stuff, I try to bring stories that the media is hiding. Like, for instance, most people don't know there was a massive arrest of judges and senators and all this other stuff in one of these states because the Democrats have been stealing elections for a couple of years. And like 10 or 15 people just got arrested for stealing elections, sort of. But you probably never heard of that case because it's something that's not out there. Also, I'm gonna be covering a lot of the Epstein stuff. I'm going over the Epstein stuff again now that we found out that some of the Epstein victims were actually employees of Mar-a-Lago and were stolen from Mar-a-Lago.
Giuffre was one of them.
But yes, Giuffre. But what this media isn't also is not telling you is that the reason why Trump and Epstein had their falling out was because Epstein was stealing
his employees. Trump said
from the spa. Yeah. So this was before everybody's, but now, obviously the media is now, Mar-a-Lago is a sex trafficking, but it's not because of all this other stuff. Yeah. So, but obviously they're going to spin it that way. So I'm going to do a video on that and just a lot of my other stuff that I do that people like, where we're looking at the local corruption and bring it to you here on YouTube.
All right, Ron, what do you have coming up?
I've got this lawsuit coming up with Preston, and that we talked about at the beginning. So everyone will be hearing him a lot more about that.
All right, so you see, Ron has a real legal job that he's out there doing. Now I, on the other hand, I will be back on later today at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time for America's Untold Stories. Also, I have been religiously releasing an interview every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. under my original channel. This spawned out of it. America's Untold Stories spawned out of it. Everything is spawned out of my channel. It's just my name, Eric Hunley, or look up Eric Hunley Unstructured. I just did an interview with Phil Holloway, who you've seen on this channel. We are talking about the whole Kohberger situation. I will be interviewing and hopefully putting out an interview next Thursday about the Gainesville Ripper, who may have been the inspiration behind Kohberger. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but I'm interviewing J.T. Hunter, who wrote the book on him, and I have other interviews coming up as well. I'm pulling one from the vault every Monday. Monday will be Jack Barsky interview I did a while back. Jack Barsky's a fascinating guy who left the Soviet Union, or essentially he was a mole. He's part of the illegals program, lived here for 16 years, completely undetected in our midst. And he is now a very patriotic American citizen. But I hope you guys consider checking that out. Check everybody out here, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, guys.
All right. Hopefully this worked.
We are still live.
It's still live. It's live. We're live.
We're live. Buy my merch.